Hello again to another Matura Express stream. Today we're gonna talk about analyzing the situation and how to give a monologue. Stay tuned. So, as I've already mentioned, hello again to my second stream here at the Matura Express. Today we're going to talk about a very important topic. Again, of course, all topics are important here. Analyzing the situation and how to give a monologue. So what does it mean actually? We're going to talk about this soon. First, I'm going to just show you the overview of our today's stream. So at first we're going to talk about how to analyze the exam situation, then how to structure a monologue, introduction, useful phrases for a monologue, useful presentation skills, and practice and demonstration of monologue introductions. So we're going to start off with how to analyze the exam situation. So, as you've already heard, if you're in the oral exam, you will be given your exam papers, of course, and then you have time to prepare. On your exam papers, of course, there's the task, there's task 1, there's task 2, and the follow-up discussion. As we've already discussed in our demonstration exams, which we mostly do on Wednesdays. And I'm going to show you in the end of this stream how the first task of oral Matura exam paper looks. But you, I think, all know it. So at first, at the very beginning, of course you have to introduce yourself. The examinee asks you, why do you do the A-levels and so on, what are your future plans and so on and so on. But the important task then is, the more important tasks, I have to say, are task 1 and task 2. And today we're gonna look at task 1, which is the monologue. So normally you're given a situation that you're an expert that was asked to hold a presentation, seminar, a talk about topic X, and it's also mentioned who's the audience. So we're gonna look into this now. So how to analyze the exam situation. So you have a situation here, task 1, as I've already mentioned, the monologue. So the first thing you're gonna do is ask yourself in which role you are. So normally task 1, it says you are a PR, or you are an expert in sports, or you are any kind of expert or teacher or any other function. So I've already listed it down there. So you're an expert in, teacher. What are you actually? And of course, it depends in which role you are in. So then you can, of course, adjust to it with using phrases and vocabulary, of course. And then the second thing you have to think about is, who is your audience? So is your audience university students, pupils, teachers, or parents, even parents, or just a community of that is interested in a specific topic, then of course you have to think about what do you have to talk about. So what does the paper ask you to do? In this case, I've written an example. It's from a demonstration exam. What are the objects of your tasks? In this case, it was the role of sport and the Olympics in our society. Okay, having solved this problem, we move on to the next step. Which type of situation are you in? Is it a talk? Is it a seminar? Is it a presentation? Etc. Easy things to analyze actually. But you have to follow those 4 simple steps in order to complete your monologue successfully. Okay, so let's move on to how structure a monologue introduction. So if you finished analyzing what your task is, basically, you should figure out how to structure this monologue. So of course it starts with the introduction. We're gonna look into the introduction, and what a way to start an introduction, of course, is to first introduce yourself, which means you should introduce yourself as the expert X, Y. For example, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ted. Today my name is Ted. Today I'm gonna talk about this and that. And what's also important, that you if you're able to do so, come up with a catchy phrase. Since if you have a catchy phrase at the very beginning after you introduce yourself, it draws the attention of the audience, and the audience always gets more interested in the topic itself. So maybe a catchy phrase. Let's think about topic, situation, unhealthy or healthy living, sports, healthy living. Come up with a phrase. Nowadays we all struggle what we should eat or how to follow healthy nutrition. Or if you have topics such as drugs or drug abuse, you could also use that we all know somebody that has an addiction such as blah blah blah, and that's helps the audience to familiarize with the topic. So be creative with it. You don't have to force it, but I think it's easy to come up with like an short sentence. It doesn't have like be a quote from somebody. Of course, a quote is always like the best thing that you might come up with, but I think a quote is it's quite difficult to come up with in such a situation. But it's fine if you have like a catchy phrase or a sentence, introduction sentence, like I mentioned just before. And just tell the audience what you're going to talk about. So we had introduce yourself, then the catchy phrase, and then tell the audience what you're going to do. So this might look come together as follows. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ted, and I'm an expert in customers relation in a certain company, and then you bring in the catchy phrase and you talk about what you're going to talk about. So it's, don't worry here, just give like I did. I also give you an overview of the stream, of today's stream. So just follow those steps and you will be fine. So okay, so we're gonna use pardon me, we're gonna move on to the next slide, which is about useful phrases for a monologue. And of course, those phrases are not that difficult, but you should keep them in mind. So first, of course, you greet the audience. Good morning, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is, and I am like I've already mentioned before. Or I have been asked by the, I don't know, by a company or by someone else, by a school, to hold a talk about da da da. So you have already in this sentence you have the third step I mentioned the slide before, which is about tell the audience what you are going to talk about. So in this sentence, I've been asked by da 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 to hold a talk about blah blah blah. This sentence does this, so you're good with it. So, but you can of course add something, but not too much. But because there's not that much time for task 1. Or today I'm gonna talk about simple phrase, simple sentence. And catchy phrase example, I've wrote it down here. Nowadays, obesity has become one of the most frequent causes for cancer or other diseases. I came up with this introduction sentence just to kind of lead into the topic, prepare the audience, what is gonna happen. And yeah, I think that's very, very easy to do. Also for learners of English that haven't been learning English that long, but it should work out well. Okie dokie. The next step I wanted to integrate in this stream is useful presentation skills. As you might know, you're not standing in your oral exams, you're sitting. You're sitting in front of your examinee, actually. So you're looking him or her into the eyes. But it's also important, even if you're sitting, that you as a person, as an expert in this case, present yourself. So you might have heard that it's really, really important how you present yourself, yeah. And basically the points that I want to mention, I've listed here, are 4 examples. For example, is try to avoid ams, hms, ams during talk. I know I also do it, but in this situation you can really prepare your talk better than I have to do because it's more spontaneous. But try to avoid it, and if you realize that you're doing it a lot during the presentation, try to not focus on it too much, because the most important things thing is, of course, the topic, the task, and what you're going to talk about. So, but try to avoid these. The second bullet point I've written down there is try to look at your audience. So it's not very helpful for your examiners and not very pleasant, I guess. If you simply just look at the table or something like that, at your task the whole time. Of course, you can use it if you have written down something, but you can't just simply talk like that the whole time. It doesn't work. It doesn't make it better, I think. Try to speak as freely as possible, which is also important. Of course, you have you wrote down your notes during the preparation, but try to remember your notes best as you can and speak as freely as possible. It makes just a better impression on the examinees, and yeah, try to do it. The next thing I want to talk about is more about your arms and your hands. So don't cross your arms. That doesn't make it better. Don't forget about your posture. Sit straight. Makes just a better impression. And try to speak clear and articulate. So don't humble or something. It's not good for you. So try to, and you can of course practice it if you want at home, to practice on your speaking, your articulation, that everything is understood clearly. Of course, sometimes you might, I don't know, mightn't speak very clear, but of course it's different. It's a special situation. I want special situation that you want to master, and it's normal that you're nervous and don't think about it too much, but it makes, of course, a better impression. Okay, having said or having explained these things we have gone through now, just want to look at if there's any comments. Questions from Marco. How long does the first task take? So normally the first task, so task 1, the monologue, takes 3 to 5 minutes, 3 to 4 minutes. Yeah. Are there any other comments?
No.
Okay. And now we're actually coming to the practice and demonstration of the monologue introductions, which shows you the first part of the exam. So you see here the first part of the exam, as I've already said. In this case, your exam paper is always structured like this. So you have introduction, task 1, then your task is explained, then there is task 2 and the follow-up discussion. But this, the follow-up task 2 and follow-up discussion can be seen in Wednesday streams, for example, or this Wednesday we're doing demonstration exams on sport and recreation, so be sure to check out those. So we're doing the whole exam, but now we're going to focus on some example exams that show you how the tasks how the tasks are written out and so on. So In this case, introduction is always the same. The examiner will ask you some questions about your future plans, your career, why you're doing die Berufsreifeprüfung, and so on. And then you start task 1, which in this case is about the modern family. You of course have prepared everything about this task, you know. And in this case the situation is you work as a family counselor. You have been asked to hold a seminar for families on modern family life. So I'll use this thingy here. So as we've talked about at the beginning of this stream, your task now is to analyze what's your situation actually is. So you work as a family counselor. So you now know you're not an expert in biology or sports, but you're a family counselor. So you work as a family counselor. And you have been asked to hold a seminar in this case. So no presentation, no talk, hold a seminar. Of course, they're kind of the same because you can't really hold a whole seminar, but it's during your oral exam, but it's important to know it, yeah. Since you've gonna introduce yourself and everything, you can mention that you're holding a seminar in any topic you like. And of course, the seminar is about modern life. And the examiners, so the audience, are families. So think about what can families, what might families interest, or what maybe you could also come up with other interesting things that you know about families. Of course, it's all about your knowledge, basically. And what's also given here in the first task is give a brief presentation to the audience about modern families. So we have that again. In this case, it's not a brief presentation, it's a seminar, but yeah. And talk about, that's also important. You have to talk about different types of family, how families have changed over the past decades, and reasons for these changes. Be sure to include those in your task 1, otherwise you won't be able to successfully complete it, your task 1. But that's the first example. I'm gonna give you another example. So now. So in this case, the introduction stays the same. Pardon me. And task 1 is the positive impacts of mass media. So again, role play, monologue. So the role play is, of course, you're in your role. In this case, which role are you in? You're the head teacher from the media department at London Secondary College. So head teacher, you've already know this. So we know that you're a head teacher. And the second thing, you have been asked to hold a seminar for interested persons on mass media in our modern world. Yeah, interested persons, so it's just a general information seminar, or seminar for persons that people that are interested in this topic. Mass media in our modern world. So that's the thing you have to talk about, of course. Really easy, pardon me, really easy to find out, but you just have to read. That's the only thing you have to do. And remember the 4 points I've provided you at the very beginning of this presentation. Then in this case, your task, you have the 3 bullet points again, and you have to, of course, mention those or treat those 3 bullet points. Otherwise, it won't be that good. Yes, do we have another comment? Or?
Yes.
Ah, yeah, just. Can I choose between 2 tasks? Have I to do with... Can I choose between 2 tasks? Basically, when you come in, you're asked to draw 2 papers. I think it's 2 topics. You have to draw 2 topics. And then you can choose which topic you want. So, for example, you have topic sports and recreation. You draw it, so you pick sports and recreation, and the other topic is, what else is there? Tourism or something like this. Then you can choose which topic you want. But then, of course, the demonstration exam is just about these topics, for example, sports and recreation. And then you'll see how task 1 and task 2 will look like. And of course, in task 2 then, there's also a text, an article attached to the exam papers. But we're gonna treat this on Wednesday. So thank you for your question here. Hope I've successfully answered this question, and I just want to go through one last demonstration of monologue introductions. And here the task is the role of the Olympic Games. The situation is you work in the PR department, so you are in public relation department of your city council. So you know who you are, which role are you have to represent. And your city would like to place a bid to host the next Olympic Games, and residents of your city must vote either for or against having the Olympics in their city. You have been asked to hold an information evening to public about the role of sport and Olympics in our society. So, again, hold an information evening, that's what you have to do. The audience, the examiners, basically, is the public. And the topic is role of sport and the Olympics in our society. So, of course, don't forget to include those 3 bullet points. In this case, the Olympic Games message, how the Olympics can inspire people to become more active, and the importance of doing sport and being active. Okay, I just want to check if there... No. Okay, no comments. So I hope that it's more clear to everyone out of you now how this works, how to introduce yourself, and how to start with the monologue. Actually, it's quite, of course, it's quite easy, but I think you should practice it just at home, just to be really sure that you can do it very well if you're then in the oral exam, because think about, you're also nervous, you're gonna be nervous, I think. And yeah, if you're practicing it at home, just not every day, but a few days in a week, in the end you're gonna be pretty good at it, so it doesn't worry you that much anymore. Okay, so I'd like to say goodbye to all of you, and we're gonna see each other on Wednesday, so have a nice evening. Yeah, it's pretty late. Have a nice evening and see you on Wednesday.